Welcome, everyone. Let's turn off this music. Get ready for tonight's program. Welcome. This is our live Wednesday programming. One more moment. I just remembered I have to do one more thing. And then we'll be ready. This is all for my team. Video backwards. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we are all set, I believe. Go. Okay, good. Welcome. Okay, so we'll start over. So welcome to our Wednesday night. Every evening, every Wednesday evening, I come on live to give you an update on what's going on energetically on the planet and to give you a live scan to see how you are doing energetically. So we have just entered, I believe we have a full moon tonight. So I always think of that as an opportunity to really show a lot of thanks and gratitude. We just came through the Thanksgiving holiday, which was also an opportunity to give thanks for so much that we have. So many of us are focused on all the things that aren't working. And so when there's an opportunity to give thanks, sometimes it might be hard to come up with some things that are, working or that you're grateful for. So that's definitely in order with the full moon. It's always a reminder for me to think about the fullness of life that we are living in. And we're also moving into the holiday season. So December is often a time, after Thanksgiving, people are thinking about shopping and Black Friday sales. And there is also a lot of this commercial energy, which takes away from really the true significance of this time of year, in my opinion. I believe, that Christmas has really lost its original implications or original intentions. And it's really a reminder about the energy of Jesus, the energy of Christ, and how we can move into that energy and away from all this commercialism. In fact, I have a little bit of a gripe. Maybe some of you have a similar gripe. I'd love to hear if you have a similar gripe as me. Let's see who we have in the house too. So we have Sandy, welcome from Hawaii and New York. Great to have you back, Selma. We have Florida, thanks, Tara, Colorado, and Michigan. Okay, great to have you all here. So one of the things I wanted to gripe about, because I think it's probably common, and it's actually quite disappointing. So this has to do with commercialism and shopping online, and maybe you have become or have fallen prey to the many scams out there. And so I thought it was pretty good at, deciding or discovering what could be off and what could not. I'm usually pretty good at telling, but there were a couple things, and this is relates to buying clothes. So I did, and I actually did post a video about this already, but I'm going to talk about it again because there's a closure to this now. And so I bought a pair of those Bron Air shoes. They look like toe shoes from the bottom, but they're not. They're actually shoes that supposedly are have a grounding, like a copper grounding wire in it. However, I wore these shoes for maybe couple hours indoors, and the copper color wore off. They were not solid copper in the bottoms of these shoes. The most disturbing thing that I discovered, though, was that instead of grounding you, that's what the advertisement is that these shoes will ground you, that it actually did the exact opposite. So for whatever reason, I get these, inclinations, check this, check that. And so it was, Spirit was guiding me to check and see if I was grounded with these shoes on. That was the claim, right? Well, the exact opposite effect was in order. I muscle tested with the shoes on and my arm went weak. So I was not grounded. I took the shoes off and retested, and then I was grounded. So I went through a whole thing of trying to return these shoes. Like that's what you're supposed to do, right? They say try and settle it with the merchant. So the next day I sent an email. And so this goes back and forth. And I believe that they know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to, uh, you know, hook you along to get past this 60-day threshold where then everybody's hands are supposedly tied. Can't do anything after 60 days. Well, I didn't know that. And so if any of you don't know, you have to make a complaint to the merchant or to the bank. I wouldn't even bother with the merchant, because what this guy did is he promised that they would send it back, that it was a defective product. I would get my money back. If you don't get a response in 24 hours, we'll escalate it. So this went on and on and on and on until I finally said, okay, this is a bunch of baloney. I went to PayPal. So it was past the 60 days. I went to the bank. I submitted the forms, and basically the same thing. So I made my contribution to TikTok Shop. I also did this with some clothes, some shirts, and I hate to sound prejudice, but I think it's interesting that all of these things that happen like this they're all from China. I thought this was a reputable company that was from the U.S. Bron Noir. They have an office in the States, but everything is shipped from China. So they're also going to tell you, oh, we'll give you 20% in cash and cash back, or towards another product, and you could keep the junk that you have. And so that didn't interest me, but anyway, so that's what they try to do. They're going to give you a little bit of money to buy more of their junk. And so in both cases, I even returned one of these products, these shirts, back to China. Dummy me. I don't know. For some reason, I thought that was the right thing to do. I thought it was better to get, maybe 2/3 of what I spent instead of losing it all. Well, anyway, I lost it all and then some. The $30 or $40 it cost to ship it to China. So note to you guys, if you don't know, I think this whole TikTok shop thing is going to crash in about 6 months, because people are fed up being scammed. Everything out there is a scam. Well, I can't say everything, but a lot of things are a scam. And once you've been bitten a couple times, you say, yeah, it only takes me usually twice. And then I say, okay, lesson learned. These are not honest people, and they're going to lie about everything. And It's unfortunate because there's probably a lot of good products out there, but there's also a lot of, crappy products and unscrupulous people. So that's unfortunate. I don't know. Have you guys experienced any of these kinds of things, before? I'm curious. Um, it has become commercialized. Yeah, you're talking about Christmas for sure. It's happened to you, Tara. Yeah. It's such a shame because, there's a lot of people, on TikTok that are trying to make a living and, trying to make a good business. And it's unfortunate that a few of these people that are dishonest, unscrupulous scammers, the internet is ripe, full of scammers. And, when I look at videos online and even a lot of the products, all crap, low vibration. And so every now and then I see something, I go, oh, that would be cool. And then I calibrate it, and then I see, oh, that's right, it's from TikTok Shop. Forget it. I will buy maybe possibly things on Amazon because they do have a pretty good return policy, but watch it because they have limits and they have parameters, and sometimes you have to pay to return it, or you have to have the right box or whatever. So if you're going to buy anything online, just really pay attention to the return policies, because it's the holiday season and there's a lot of people out there waiting to just scoop you up and take advantage of you. So that's unfortunate, but yes. You've had all good experiences, Sandy. Well, I'm glad. I'm happy for you, and, maybe you just know how to jump through the hoops and so forth, but, I don't know, have you ever tried to return anything? Has that been successful on TikTok Shop? That's what I'm curious about. At any rate, welcome to the holiday season. There's a couple other things that I wanted to talk about, and that is that now we're as we are moving into this holiday season, and the reminder of being in this Christ consciousness energy. This is why Spirit has guided that tomorrow, so the first Thursday of every month, we do a luminary activation, which is not a class. It's not a place to come and just listen. It's a place to actually change the vibrational frequency in your field so you can start attracting new things. And so last month, we elevated our body frequency so that we could accommodate more light. That was the whole point of bringing in these higher frequencies. And the last luminary activation was actually a launch for the 12-day program, which we do every other month. And so we spent the next 12 days going through all of our body systems and body organs, raising them to this new threshold of 450 millivolts. So that was really exciting. And we learned a few new things. As I talked about last week, the fascia was particularly interesting and kind of newer to me, or maybe I saw it in a new light and didn't know that it holds as much trauma as it does. And I also didn't know that it's comprised mostly of water. I didn't know that. So the fascia, and then as I was thinking, before that, we learned about the claustrum, which is that tiny part of our brain that infuses the spinal fluid with a frequency so that our nervous system knows how to operate. And so I was thinking, wow, now this claustrum is also activating our fascia because the fascia is an intelligent communication layer. And so it helps all of these body systems and body organs and all of the neural pathways to function more properly. So when we're holding a lot of trauma in our fascia, then that kind of blocks these signals. And so we were able to bring the whole fascia up to 100% of functioning, and this new threshold of millivolts, 450, which is kind of crazy because even the EE system, I don't know if you know about this. This is a system. Tony Robbins has a whole room that's full of these panels. But this system only brings you up to between 70 and 90 millivolts, which they say is that's where a healthy cell lives. And so a lot of people who have chronic problems have really been helped by the system. However, there's so much more available. We are bringing people all the way up to 450 millivolts, this new threshold. So that's what happened last month. And this prepared us for this next luminary activation, which we're doing tomorrow, which is all about this Christ consciousness frequency. So that has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with a frequency that relates to unconditional love and unity, compassion, kindness, all of those kinds of energies. And so that's the frequencies that we're going to be embodying tomorrow as we get ready for this holiday season, because that's really what this season is about. How can we show more kindness and compassion and, the whole spirit of giving? Well, sometimes it comes with feelings of obligation. And so we don't want that kind of, giving. So it's kind of a tricky time. I grew up, for those of you who don't really know much about me, I grew up in a religious cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. So I never got to celebrate any of the holidays. So for me, it's not hard to not celebrate the holidays because I did without them my whole life. But it is, kind of interesting to have a new perspective about it, that it's not religious at all. It's really more of an energetic frequency that we can all adopt. And then the more of our cells that are holding this high frequency of love, then it affects all of our relationships and so much more of our life. And as a matter of fact, spirit has guided me. Maybe I think I was talking about this on, you're asking if I celebrate now. Full moon is tomorrow. Okay. It looked pretty full tonight. Do I celebrate now? Kind of, sort of, not really. My daughter likes to celebrate Christmas. And so we usually get together and do a little gift exchange. And I'll send a gift to my son who lives in Northern California. But other than that, yeah, not really interested in the whole commercial part of it. So that is, it is what it is. Some people really enjoy it, and I think it's kind of gotten far from what it originally was intended. Curious about, let's see what else. Yeah, so that was the other thing I was moving into. So because, I'm always listening to how I'm being guided every month for this luminary activation, which is, it's such a shift in our frequencies so that we can stay in these more elevated frequencies, which is where all of the magic lives, all of the joy, all of the answers, all of the things that we're looking for are in these higher frequencies. So a lot of people are, wanting to have more money, which is already available. You're just not in the frequency where you're dialed in for it to come in. So the other thing that I was going to talk about was that the next luminary activation Spirit has guided is going to be about relationships, because usually in January, people are focused on New Year's resolutions. Let's put our foot on the gas. And, everybody's like out the gates, like starting a race. And it's really counterproductive to the energies that are actually happening on the planet, which is winter. Winter's an inward energy. It's the time when really energetically we should be preparing for spring, when we really emerge and come out. And so when we work in harmony with the cycles, then we can do everything with much more ease and grace, and everything's a lot simpler. So if we are working with the energies of going inward in winter, then this is the time, like when fishermen will repair their nets, like when they're during a storm, when there's downtime, they repair their nets. They get ready for when it is time to go out and fish. And so we should be doing the same thing. We should be going inward to prepare for this time in spring when we emerge, whether it's with a new business venture or you hear a lot about spring fever. A lot of people start thinking about love and relationships, and so that's why spirit is guiding us to start working on our relationships. Now, I don't know if I've ever, maybe, I know I've done some on love in the past of these luminary activations, but I don't think I've done one on relationships. So the reason that this is really important is because it seems like since COVID, things have gotten pretty wonky, right? And people are afraid of each other now. They're afraid to connect. It's really hard to, if you're been one who's been looking for a relationship, it's been a big challenge. And even people who are in relationships often feel very lonely because they may be in a partnership, but they are not really like connected, or there's a lot of blocks, and they start creating patterns that create a disconnect instead of greater connection. And so the next luminary activation, the one after tomorrow, is going to be geared more towards relationships. And so this could be a relationship that you're currently in that you'd like to improve. It could be maybe you're uncoupling and you're wanting to really end a relation. Like maybe you've already ended it, but it feels like there's all this lingering resentment and bitterness and unfinished business and betrayal and all the things that caused you to uncouple. And so all of those energies can be cleared out as well. Maybe you're looking just for a better relationship with yourself, which is really where all relationships start. We have to be able to go inward, deeply loving ourselves before we can bring this energy outward. Because what's going on out here, this is all a reflection of what's going on in here. And so we don't try and change, like when you go to a movie, you don't go to the screen to try and change what's on the movie screen. If you want something different on the screen, you have to go back to the projector. We're the projector. So we go to our projector to change the frequencies, the energies that we're emitting so that we can create a different outcome. So that relates to our own personal relationship. It could relate to a relationship we're in. It could be relate to a relationship that we're ending. And it could also relate to a relationship that we want to bring in. So over the 12 days, all of those things are going to be covered so that we can really drop into a place where wardrobe malfunction. I think that's what happened there. Anyway, so so all of those kinds of relationships can be addressed in this next 12-day program. Hang on just 1 second. I just want to check one. Okay, we're good. I'm laughing because I just found this little eyelash thing. I thought, oh, one of my eyelashes fell out. Anyway, so yeah, I'm here having fun. All right. Someone I was moving forward with has now left me heartbroken. Yeah, and it can be hard to move forward, and oftentimes in relationships. So this is a big energy hack that, and instead of we meet people and we are actually trying to work out some unresolved past lives. That's often why we meet someone that we're attracted to. But it's kind of like that push pull, like you have this attraction, but it's like, oh, I think there's some things that are here that maybe won't turn out so well. Those are the unresolved past lives. And so whenever I see relationships that are feeling a little crunchy or in turmoil, inevitably, without fail, there are always unresolved lifetimes, and these can actually be cleared very quickly. And the beauty of it is that when you can clear these energetic frequencies that are from these unresolved past lives that have followed us into this lifetime, hoping to get resolved now, is that we just clear the energies. And then you don't have to waste another lifetime or the rest of this lifetime trying to work out all that crap. And this is especially helpful for new relationships. So I often help people who are considering a relationship. How do you guys energetically match up with your mind? Do you guys think alike? With your spirit, is like somebody they seem like they're happy and joyful and they're bringing their best forward, but really in private they're quite depressed or angry, but you don't know that. Well, that spirit vibration will tell if you're aligned in that. And then the body frequency. So I measure mind, body, spirit, and money. So the body frequency will give you a heads up about your body chemistry and how that will work. And then money. Men don't want gold diggers, and women don't want men that can't help provide. So uh, you want to be able to meet someone that has a high money frequency. Ideally, you have one yourself as well. You don't want to be rescued by someone, just because they have money. That never, I don't, my experience has been that doesn't feel good. And, maybe it's been my own way of knowing that I always needed to have my own back door and not rely on someone else for finances, because that can really make you feel trapped. And so I always encourage women to have at least some of their own money so that you never feel trapped. You never feel like you're at the mercy of someone else because they have all the money, they call all the shots. So that's not an aligned partnership. So anyway, those four things are the things that need to be measured to discover if two people are aligned: mind, body, spirit, and money. So that's super helpful. Um, and let's see what else about relationships. Yeah, there's a lot of layers, which is why I thought this would really be a good theme to go over all the layers and stuff that need to be cleared over 12 days so that you can really align yourself and set yourself up for the possibilities of a much more aligned partnership, because you're only going to attract what you're emitting, right? And so if you're still pushing down that old relationship where you were betrayed and taken advantage of, you might be looking for a new relationship with your eyes on the rearview mirror, thinking, yeah, I don't want that again. So that's where your focus is. And so because that's your focus, then you're scanning the horizon for that next problem like that, instead of raising your frequencies to a higher frequency, open heart, no resentment, no anger, being able to give and receive. There's a lot of people who are blaming other people for not giving to them. Like you might say, well, I give so much and I get nothing back. And it's not that, it's not the other person's fault. It's actually you are unable to receive. So there's both hands. Let me just talk about this for a second. Our right hand energetically is the energy of giving. So the circle of reciprocity that I talk about in my book starts at the heart chakra. So we give with our heart, that energy comes out the right arm. And then if we allow this circle of reciprocity to really flow, it comes out the right arm and into the left receiving hand. This is the hand that's usually blocked when people are not able to receive. But they're blaming it on other people. You don't give to me. Instead of, they don't realize they are not open to receiving. So their left hand is closed, it's blocked. And there's lots of reasons that can happen. But at any rate, in this this next 12 days that we'll be doing in January, that's another one of the things we're going to make sure is flowing. So you can give and receive. And then you can end that story of, they never give to me. I'm always short end of the stick. All right. So let's start checking on some questions. We're about halfway through already. And checking to see what kind of questions you guys have. Is it finance related or relationship related or some other thing? Business? Physical? Okay, let's see. We have Paula. Let's see here. It says, do I have and past lives with Rico? We separated, but I'm having a hard time totally disconnecting, especially when he is not connecting to others and comes back to me a lot for comfort. Yeah, that's kind of hard. So, do you have unresolved past lives? Yes. So you have Paula, you have 5, and Rico has 10. So that means that you've had at least 10 lifetimes together, 5 of which it felt like you ended up on the short end of the stick. 10, he felt like he was on the short end of the stick. So that would be like 15. Although you could both have unresolved life stuff on both sides. So at any rate, yes, you do both have some unresolved lifetimes. Um, Yeah, and in your case, it created a lot of fury. That's the residual energy still in your field is fury. And he also cords to your 6th chakra. So here's a way to tell, or this is what I've discovered, is that like sometimes you think, well, how do I know they're thinking of me, or was I thinking of them, or like which came first? So if you are just going along and somebody just pops into your head, they are thinking of you. If you have a train of thought where you think of one thing that leads to another, that leads to another, that then leads to the thinking about that person, that's different because your train of thought led to that person. So that's different than somebody who just pops into your head. They are likely in your 6th chakra. And so that's why you start thinking about them. So Paula Rico, is courting to your 6th chakra because he wants to know what's on your mind. There's some powerless energy going on here. He's also courting to your heart with some fury. So he's probably trying to make you feel bad about, whatever happened. So this is how he pulls on your guilt strings, is he kind of gets mad at you. And then maybe you don't want him to be mad. So you try to, do the dance so that he's not mad when it's not your responsibility. But anyway, 4. He's also courting to your solar plexus with fear, like that fear of maybe you're going to go find somebody else now, and he's SOL. So he's courting to your solar plexus, trying to manipulate you. So just know that all of these cords are, it's a way of manipulating someone. These cords, people use energy cords to try and vibe someone into doing something or not doing something instead of using their words. So let's see where else. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And then he's also courting to your root chakra. And this is likely because he doesn't have his own. So he feels more grounded when he's plugged into your root chakra. So that's a little synopsis about you and Rico. Lola, she knows here. Will you scan my chakras? Do I have attachments to old relationships? Well, first of all, what's more important than what's going on in your chakras is what's going on in your grounding. So you have no grounding cord, Lola. That is, the most important and basic part of Energy 101 is to make sure you have a good grounding cord. Otherwise, you're like a house without plumbing. And then there's nowhere for all the energies uh, to go because there's no pipe. So you might notice that you feel anxious and uneasy, maybe that agitation. And then again, maybe you don't feel it hardly at all. Like you say, oh, well, I'm actually feel pretty good. That's because you're only occupying your body 3%. So that means you're only feeling about 3% of what's actually going on here. And so the danger of that is that then you don't know what's going on. As far as what's blocking your grounding, it's the most common way that the dark energies on the planet are kind of throwing everyone off kilter is right at the grounding at the root chakra. They have 20 of these AI cords plugged in, and it's putting a lot of fury in your field. So if you notice yourself feeling annoyed or frustrated or just kind of a little ticked off, um, maybe a little pissy, not your energies. And that's the energies that's kicking you out of your body because it doesn't feel comfortable having and feeling all of these energies. So that's more important than what's going on in your chakras. Although in your heart, this is a big place that you're working on right now. It's only 3% open. So it's also, this is another thing we're going to be doing over these 12 days in January, is really doing a lot of heart work, because when the heart is closed, and we do that as a protective mechanism. We close the heart so that we won't get hurt, we won't feel pain, and so forth and so on. However, when our heart is closed, then what are we going to attract? We're going to attract other people with closed hearts. And then we're going to wonder why you can't feel their love for you, why you don't feel like there's a thing. Like you might, but not quite, because the heart's not open. So this is where people, they do loving things. Now, when I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, I was trained how to be a very loving person, how to do loving things and kind things and helpful things. But it wasn't until I met my first partner after my divorce that I really discovered that there's a big difference between doing love and feeling love. And so once I met this person, it was the first time I really started to feel the difference between doing loving things and love that you feel that then, motivates you to do things from there. So that's a very different feeling. So this is part of what you're working on, Lola, is opening your heart. It feels like there is some old hurt in there. Looks like there's about 3 old relationships that are still kind of brewing in there that you haven't quite cleared out. So that's that. What other questions do we have? Let's take a look at Instagram, see if you guys have any questions over here. A lot of people joined. Thanks for joining Instagram. I don't think you guys can post questions unless you like or subscribe or something. I don't know. That's what somebody said once. But if you want to make it easier on yourself, you could go to YouTube and find me there under Shama Kim Productions. And then you can put some live questions in. We could give you a scan. All right. Thanks for playing, Lola. Let's see what else. Gigi. I am ruminating about him. Am I just ruminating about him, or is he wanting to come back to me? So is this the person I read up here earlier? Okay. Um, it's probably a little bit of both. Um, he is also courting to your sixth chakra, so that's why he's still on your mind. So that's the ruminating part. He's still on your mind because this is where he's plugged in. Uh, Maybe wondering if he still has a chance. Um, hmm. So his heart is only open 15%, and your heart, Gigi, is open 100%. So it's going to be pretty hard to um, feel the love that you're really looking for in a relationship from him unless he changes that equation, because he's only operating at 15%. And so often, and this is the other thing, is that if you meet someone and you're thinking, oh, he'd be great if he just XYZ, or if just this little adjustment, or just this little change over here. It's like, no, that's not the way to go into a relationship, because men basically are, they are what you get. What you see is what you get. And so when you start fantasizing about other possibilities that are not actually on the table, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Um, can you look at my heart chakra? It's pretty closed, I'm sure. Well, Jana, yes, it is open 15%. But you also don't have a grounding cord. So a lot of the energies that you're wanting to release that are like closing your heart, there's nowhere for the energies to go without a grounding cord. So that's pretty basic stuff. And also, there's a QR code for those of you who are watching this live on YouTube. There's a QR code that will bring you to my link tree. And in that, you will find the meditation. There's a free meditation. So for those of you who are not grounded, and ultimately, I would encourage you to join us tomorrow, because that's what we're doing, is we're walking through the whole process that's outlined in my book, Access Your Ultimate Power, The Blueprint to Infinite Intelligence. We are going to go through the whole process of running your energy. We get grounded. We get all the channels opening, this circle of reciprocity, giving and receiving, and so that you can be more embodied 100% in your body. There's a lot of you that talk about wanting to be able to be more intuitive, or to be able to tell things better. You can't tell, you can't feel. Well, that's because you're not at home. So if you get back in your body with a good grounding cord, your intuition is going to expand and increase. So that's number one. But you're also going to be able to release all these energies that make you feel uncomfortable, so that you could start feeling calmer and more focused, and everything just starts to flow. So if you want to join us, you can click on this, the QR code, or you can go to my website at kimberlysherry.com, and that is also available. We'll do this here. The luminary activation is also available on the website. So I highly suggest that if you're among those who are not grounded here, the admission fee is only $49. I mean, you're going to pay more than that going out to dinner. So um, it's really quite valuable in helping to shift your frequencies. You're not just coming here, if you come to the luminary activation, you're not coming there to get your house cleaned. You're coming there to learn how to master your own energy. That's what I'm more interested in than, helping people clean their house, because otherwise, when you walk away, then you just kind of bounce back to where you were, and everything just goes back to where it was. But if you come and you participate and you clear your field along with us, you're learning how to master and manage your own energy field. And then there's that free 20-minute meditation that you can listen to every day to help keep it in these higher frequencies. So That is my suggestion to all of you who are here that are not grounded, or that your heart's closed, or you know, you have people courting to you. We take all of that stuff out, and we reset the whole playing field. So let's see what else do we have here. Mhm. Mm, Grounding techniques. Yeah, we're gonna go through all of that tomorrow, and you can get grounded. Mhm. Having horrible relapse of chronic fatigue syndrome. Mm, yeah, it's at 100%. Um, and that's when we did this 12-day program, one of the things we measured and cleared was Epstein-Barr virus, which in your case, 100%, and also Candida, which is also 100%. So there are some energies that can be cleared. If you come tomorrow, I'll tell you now a couple of the places that you can focus on, because this is a group meditation. But if you know the places to focus on, then you can focus a little bit more on the things that are creating these issues. So in my field and in my experience working with energies and these kinds of things, what I've discovered is that these, like the chronic fatigue, not the candida, and also the Epstein-Barr virus, that they feed on the energies of anger, rage, fury, and fear and terror. So we remove those food sources. So this is how I address these issues, so that then your body can, the die off will happen. Uh, there's other ways you can do it too. You can go on a 3-day water fast, and by the third day you'll feel like you have the flu. That's all the die off of all the bugs that are feeding, these viruses that are feeding on the fear and um, fury. So in your case, um, 10, 20, 50, 10, 20, 30, yeah. You have 50 of those AI chords at your root chakra. So once you release those, uh, then these other issues, and you probably have a lot of other things going on that you don't even realize, like your adrenals are also fatigued, and stomach not operating properly. And, I could go on. But anyway, join us tomorrow. We'll get you grounded. That would be my suggestion. Let's see, what do we have? Can you check my grounding now, Angela? Yes, you are grounded. Playing for almost a week now, and I do feel more grounded. Well, good. That's great. And if you want to take it to the next level and amplify those Christ consciousness energies, join us tomorrow. It is going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And the recording is also available. Okay, so Paula, thank you so much. Yes, I thought Rico was courting, but didn't see 4 places. It's hard to convey these things to people when they are struggling. How do you communicate with people these things? Well, maybe it's not for him. Maybe the information is for you. You don't have to tell someone to stop courting to you to remove their cords. You just take the cords out and send them back. And by the way, never cut cords, because that leaves residual energy behind. It's like when you cut a tree. If you want to remove the whole tree, you take out the roots and all. So, it's our creating stasis and peace and harmony here is not about controlling the things out on in our outer world, controlling people, circumstances, blaming things on the government or our neighbor or whatever. This is the only thing we have control of, that we can shift and change, and then our outer world will reflect that. So yeah, this is information for you, Paula, instead of being about Rico. So just saying. Let's see what else we have here. Sandy, best investment on myself I ever did. Yes. Thanks. Sandy is a real trooper. It's so fun watching her blossom, getting more and more clear. Like we don't know what we don't know, right? And so once you start doing these clearings, it's absolutely mind blowing how much we have been in the dark. So just saying. Yeah, when they don't believe in this, it's not up to them to believe you or not believe you. Our job is not to try and convince anybody of anything. Really, we're on our own path. And so that's what it's really more important. Yeah, we can't convince people of anything. So what time tomorrow? It's 11 a.m. Pacific time. And the link is on my website, which I did have up for a hot minute. There it is. If you just scroll down, it'll be on the left-hand side. Scroll down, left side. Or you could use the QR code at the top there and go to the luminary activation. All right, what other questions do we have? Yeah. Yeah, this is another big thing that I wanted to talk about. So thank you for the reminder. Is that we are just beginning, and for maybe some of you, this has already been a thing that's been happening, but it's going to happen more and more, and it's going to get bigger and a little more challenging. And what I'm talking about is people like with yourself, Paula. What do you do when people don't believe what you believe? That gap is going to get bigger and bigger. And people that you were maybe great friends with, suddenly you can see they're on a different path. They're just going in a different direction. And so our job is not to convince anybody. I spent many years as a Jehovah's Witness trying to preach and save the world. And now I realize that it's not our job to save the world. There's going to be a lot of people who don't want to be saved. They love where they're headed. They want to keep their head in the sand. So the whole idea of, you want your friends to wake up, you want your family to wake up, you want your partner to wake up, and maybe it's just not going to happen. And so we have to start deciding who our circle of influence, who's going to be in that circle of influence. It's really important that we surround ourselves with people that are supportive and that are on our path. And we might be thinking, well, I'm planting seeds and I'm hoping they'll change, and there's nothing wrong with that, but in the end there's going to come a point when they're on their path and you're on your path. And those two paths are going to get further and further apart, where, this is the whole bifurcation of timelines. Maybe you've heard of that. So it's a splitting of timelines where what the ascension is really all about is the earth moving into a higher frequency. And so because there can be many dimensions and timelines coexisting and happening simultaneously, this is how there can be, people living in the fifth dimension and others are still down in 3D. Or I live even from a much higher dimension. At any rate, it's going to get harder and harder to be friends and to commingle with people that are just on a different path. And so just saying, and just, you might notice that already happening. All right, Shelley, let's see what you've got. I'm releasing a lot of old patterns as a result of this work. looking forward to the activation tomorrow. I need the support as stuff comes out. Yeah, and it's really helpful, isn't it? To be able to have this at least monthly tune up for those of you who are not working with me privately, to be able to have this monthly activation where we do a really big clean out for a whole hour. We're going deep into all the places that are interfering with your joy and your finding purpose and passion in life. And maybe you're a little confused about feeling like it feels like I should be contributing more. I know I'm meant for more than this, or, but it's hard to get there. Well, every one of these activations is designed to remove those obstacles that are keeping you in fear, that are keeping you from taking those next steps. And fear can have a million faces. It can show up as being tired, distracted, unmotivated, confused, just all the things that prevent you from taking those next steps. So, if you've never joined us, try it. Try it once. It's the last one of the year, and so it is kind of creating a threshold and a line in the sand, so that come January, I'm looking forward to being able to help a lot of you shake these old patterns and these old relationships loose, the ones that are still kind of, I thought I let go of this guy, but he's still in my head. I can't stop thinking about him. And, so those kinds of, or when you're really still beating yourself up for all the coulda, woulda, shouldas. I wish I would never would have XYZ, letting go of all those kinds of resentments. Because if you don't clear these things out, guess what's waiting at your next relationship? All the things that a relationship is meant to trigger, stir up. They're meant to show you the places that still want to be healed, that still want a little love and attention. And so that's pretty much the purpose of relationships, to show you where you're still growing. And ideally, you'll have someone that knows that that is the purpose, so that you can both walk into a relationship with that, so that you can both support each other when you both hit that first speed bump and you go, oh no, what's happening? You both realize, stuff's getting triggered. Let me hold space for you, and you can hold space for me. And that's really how relationships emerge ideally. Where do we join tomorrow's meetup? YouTube channel? No. You'll go to my website, which is right there, KimberlySherry.com, and just scroll down to the Luminary Activation, or you can scan the QR code at the top of the screen, for those of you who can see that. And we meet on Zoom, and so there's no pre-registration this time. This is the last time we're doing the pre-registration, but once you sign up, you should have the link, and then which will be on the welcome page of that program. And we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time on Zoom. So go to my website, find the Luminary Activation, the monthly Luminary Activation. It's all about Christ consciousness. And so it is the season, 'tis the season to embody the frequencies of Christ energy. All right. Well, it's been my pleasure chatting with all of you tonight. I'm about to go ahead to dinner with my daughter. So I'll see you all tomorrow, I hope. Okay. Blessings, everyone. See you next week otherwise. All right. Bye for now.